are watching West Hartford Community Television.
You're watching West Hartford Community Television.
You're watching West Hartford Community Television.
For the community, by the community.
Hello, and thank you for joining us for this episode of Reality Scoop. I'm your host, Shanda D. Williams, and today we have colon hydrotherapist extraordinaire, Constance Jones with us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Glad to have you. So, a lot of people don't know about colon hydrotherapy. It's also known as
Colonics.
colonics,
Yep,
exactly.
or colonic irrigation.
Yes. So, how did your journey begin?
I found out about colon hydrotherapy way back in the 70s when I was living in New York City, living a crazy lifestyle and addicted to diet pills. And when I met a woman who had healed herself of cancer just by changing her diet, that woke me up to the reality that I was not very healthy and that I needed to do something about that. And so I started searching and taking a lot of classes on food and food as healing, and in that process was introduced to colon hydrotherapy.
Very nice.
And I did a series of 6 of them, like one every other week, and my whole life started to change.
Wow.
I was making a lot of lifestyle changes at the same time with my diet and exercise, but that helped to move me through it much quicker than I could have done on my own.
Very nice.
Within a year, I left New York City and moved to Boston because it was just too toxic in the city.
Yeah, most cities are that way. And that's a very, very interesting story that you tell about how, just something, well, it's not simple, colon hydrotherapy, but something of that magnitude helped to change and transform your life. But you also mention diet and exercise. That's the key. They go hand in hand.
And actually, colon hydrotherapy is fairly simple. It's just multi-filtered water under a very regulated pressure and a closed system where everything is contained, gently flowing in and out of the large intestine, cleaning out any kind of toxic buildup, mucus, gas, fecal material. So it's kind of simple, and yet it's very profound at the same time because of what we hold in our bodies.
Exactly. Wonderful. And we actually have a small clip to show you about the instrumentation that's used. It's called the Dotolo. And we also have a shot of Connie's office. So take a look.
The Dotolo Research Corporation, the originator and world leader in toxygen colon hydrotherapy instrumentation, presents a better understanding to the treatment and procedure of colon hydrotherapy. Colon hydrotherapy is the safe, gentle infusion of filtered, purified warm water into the rectum using no chemicals or drugs. It is a painless procedure that is both relaxing and effective. Previous flushings of the colon that we all know as an enema limits the cleansing of the colon to the rectum to the sigmoid area. The toxygen colon hydrotherapy allows water to filter through the entire colon and into the cecum. Today's colon hydrotherapy with modern instrumentation offers the safest and highest levels of results to the client. Colon hydrotherapy cleanses the entire colon without stressing the individual. This method provides a closed system in which waste material is eliminated through the instrument and out the drain line. This avoids any offensive odors and maintains the dignity of the individual. Colon hydrotherapy treatments usually last about 45 minutes. First, the client completes a comprehensive history treatment form. The therapist should then review the form and discuss pertinent details relating to previous symptoms and acknowledge and be alerted to pre-existing conditions, and explain the total procedure to the client. This will help relieve anxiety concerning the treatment. Have the client use the bathroom and empty their bladder.
My name is Connie Jones. My practice is called Constance Jones Colon Hydrotherapy. I've been in the business almost 40 years. First practicing in Boston for 25 years, and now in Connecticut for the last 14.
All right, Connie, thank you so much for allowing me to just get a glimpse of your office here. And so where are we now?
This is the table upon which the client lies, covered with a sheet, a gown on. This is the actual colonic instrument. And then we have disposable tubing and speculum that are used to actually administer the colonic. So anything that touches the client is thrown away after it's been used once.
Okay, very good. And so what would you say to someone if it's their first time?
Well, usually I like to just give an overview of how it happens to help relieve any curiosity or discomfort, since it is a very vulnerable therapy. A lot of people come in with some anxiety. They're usually very surprised at how gentle it is and how good they feel afterwards. So I just try to get a sense of their history and why they're here and what I can do for them, and create a sense of trust pretty quickly. So that's my main objective with the first session, is just to get the person to feel comfortable enough to let go during the session.
Like literally let go.
Literally let go. Yeah. And the waste material comes through the tubing and then through here, so you can actually see what's coming out, which is very educational. Sometimes people are a little tenuous about that, but usually by the end, everybody's wanting to look, because we can see if they have excess mucus or gas or fecal material or undigested food.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Connie. And we look forward to talking to you again. So, in the video, they show the machine, the Jotolo, that's used, but also massage and essential oils are used as well. Tell us how that works. Those are used topically on the belly. Right. I think it's important for people to know that there is a disposable kit of tubing that is used once and then thrown away. And there's an inflow tube and an outflow tube that connects to the equipment. The person's lying on a table covered with a sheet, very private. You know, really, I'm very concerned about people being comfortable and feeling safe and trusting me. So all that's very civilized, shall we say. It is. And very gentle and yet profound at the same time. Yeah. I remember my first session with you. I was very nervous. However, I just remember you had made me feel so relaxed. And you've been doing this like for how long? For almost 40 years. Yeah. And so how many sessions have you done so far today? Definitely over 60,000. Wow. I've had a lot of experience. Yes. Yeah. And you would be, it's so surprising how comfortable. It was just like so relaxing. Your setting is very tranquil. Just the oils that are used are very aromatic, as well as, you know, good for massaging to help the irrigation with the flow. Yeah, I find by massaging the abdominal area with the oils, certain ones specifically designed for the digestive system, that it seems to help move things along a little bit more smoothly and quickly, and more comfortably too. Exactly. Yeah. And so, is that something that's typical for most colon hydrotherapists? I don't think so. Other colon therapists do massage. A few are using the essential oils now, but I don't know that it's a widespread thing. Okay, very good. So, let's talk about, you said we're using, with the hydrotherapy, just purified water. How does that really help if you're not using any other chemicals? Well, you're just keeping it natural. All it takes is the water flow going in and out repeatedly over about 40 or 50 minutes to begin to loosen things up. It hydrates. So in that process, you're getting material out. You don't know what each person's
chemistry is
Right.
or what's going on with their individual bodies. So I think it's a lot safer just to use the water and not put anything in, because what we're trying to do is get the chemical residue and toxic residue out of their system. So we want to keep it as simple and pure as possible.
Exactly. Very nice. So what is the difference between a colonic and an enema?
There's a big difference. An enema is about, probably a tenth of what you can achieve with a colonic. With a colonic, you've got a speculum that goes in a couple of inches, very comfortable. It's wider than an enema tip, and the water is gently filling, emptying repeatedly for the whole time of the colonic. With an enema, people have a small tip nozzle. It's gravity fed rather than pressure sensitive, which a colonic is, and the water goes in kind of quickly, fills the person up, and then they have to get up and run to the bathroom and release on their own. With this, the equipment does it all. So the more you can relax, the easier it is. It's a great stress reducer, actually.
It is. It is. I can certainly, that's one of my testimonials. I actually did episode 3, and right before taping, I went to see you, and I felt so relaxed and just happy. So yes, it definitely relaxes you. It's just like it's a spa for your colon.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah. So why don't you just also reiterate that colonics have been around forever.
Yeah, in fact, the concept of internal cleansing is as old as mankind. There's reference in Egyptian text and the Greeks and the Essenes, and the idea of using water for internal purification has been here as long as we have.
Yeah. And the only thing is that only certain income brackets may have had access.
Yeah, in fact, it was quite popular in Europe back in the 1700s. The king of France, I believe it was really into it. It was called the Age of Clysters.
Oh, wow.
And if you go to my website, actually, I do have a whole 2-3-part history of colon hydrotherapy. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we all have to go to the bathroom.
Yes.
And yet people are afraid to talk about it. And I think that if people can learn how important it is to have a healthy elimination, and how every once in a while it requires some intentional cleansing, everyone can benefit from that.
Definitely, definitely. So what would you say to someone who is considering colon hydrotherapy but hasn't really taken the steps to do so, or maybe it's their first time and they're feeling a little uncomfortable?
I take extra time during the first session to explain the procedure, to show them the instrument, to show them the speculums, to guide them through it. And I also have them fill out an intake form that's fairly extensive beforehand.
Right.
So I've had a conversation with them. And in that 15 minutes that we're meeting each other, I think I'm very effective at helping them to feel comfortable enough to give it a try. I've never had anybody run out of my office.
Oh, that's good. And also, you are actually practicing under a naturopath.
That is the requirement in Connecticut at this time. So, yep, I have a naturopath that reviews all the intake forms and signs something called a service delegation to approve of their being able to get colon hydrotherapy at that point and in the future as well.
Okay, okay, very nice. So, I know we had talked about, is it recent the laws have changed?
That was just a couple of years ago. Yep.
And is that a good thing, or?
Well, ultimately, I think it is, because it gives us more credibility.
Okay.
This is one of those therapies that still, even within the holistic realm of things, is kind of on the fringe, I think, because of its subject. A lot of people have a hard time talking about it. So the more it's accepted by naturopaths, the more it's accepted by medical doctors, the greater our visibility.
Right.
I think there's still some issues around the medical community not really understanding what it is, and therefore not being very open to it.
Right.
In this state, it's different in other states.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people are more pill dependent, and it's easier to take a pill than to let a professional such as yourself actually, you know, clean you out for 50 minutes.
Right, and this is not a quick fix.
No,
I mean,
it's
this
not.
really is something to be used in conjunction with making changes with your diet, especially. And I find that once you've had a colonic, there's less desire to eat the crappy stuff.
Yes.
Because you feel good.
You do.
And it's a good way to find out what foods you do well with and which ones you don't in terms of what happens after the session.
Well, what do you recommend after the session?
I have a whole list of aftercare foods, like staying away from gassy foods initially, really trying to focus on vegetables, fruits, protein, minimizing carbohydrates.
Okay.
Everybody's unique, so I wouldn't prescribe one particular diet to everybody,
Right.
but mainly staying away from things that are going to create more resistance, more buildup, mucus, fatty foods, fried foods, that sort of stuff.
Okay, very nice. Now, let's talk about briefly how your gut and brain kind of work together.
Well, it's an exciting discovery, finally, that scientists are making. I've intuited this through watching people over 40 years, but they've discovered that the gut actually communicates to the brain more than the brain to the gut.
Wow.
80% of your immune system is in your large intestine.
Wow.
Serotonin and dopamine get released into your large intestine. They used to think it was a brain function, but it's really a gut function. And what they're discovering is that the health of the bacteria, millions of them in the gut, is really determining how healthy people are or how stressed out people are. I mean, chronic fatigue, there's so many symptoms now that they're starting to relate to the fact that most people don't have healthy bacteria in their colon.
Right.
So one question people are concerned about is like, well, isn't the colonic going to wash everything out? But not really. You know, it may wash out a little healthy, unhealthy bacteria, but what you do afterwards with your diet is going to determine whether the healthy bacteria reestablish themselves.
Okay.
Prebiotics are important, which are fermented foods. Probiotics are important, which are the healthy bacteria that support the environment, maintaining a sense of balance within the colon.
Very good.
So if your gut is healthy, then generally the rest of you is going to be pretty healthy.
That's very interesting. And yeah, because most people would think that the serotonin and dopamine is brain, because that's what we've been taught. So that's really a great thing that you just mentioned. I also would like to mention, I have been reading a book, it's called Digestive Intelligence, and we are also going to be giving our viewers a list of suggested readings that Connie has been so nice to provide. So at the end of the show, please, that list, most of the books are at the West Hartford Library right here. If they're not, they are very kind to do the interlibrary loan system. So,
one other thing I'd like to say about the gut brain is that I feel like the colon is an integration point in the body, both mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, if you want to go to that level with it. I mean, water is a conductor of light. So
wow,
there's a lot that we hold emotionally in our gut.
Yes.
We've actually been able to prove that we have emotional memory held in the physical cells of the body. So if you want to get into a deeper level of colon hydrotherapy, that's available too.
Yeah. And the thing is, I was reading something about how IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, is usually held with anxiety issues. And colon hydrotherapy actually helps release that anxiety, that tension that's often. It
relaxes the colon. The colon is like one big muscle. It's the last 5 to 7 feet of the digestive tract. The colonic does not go into the small intestine. That's where most of the absorption of nutrients goes on. But by cleaning out the large intestine, you can improve that as well. So if you think about the digestive system, it's about 7 times the length of your body from your mouth to your anus.
Wow.
A lot of territory for material to pass through. So any part of that body, any part of that muscle, really that long muscle you clean is going to affect the rest of the body.
Okay. Wow. Well, that's very, very interesting. So let's talk about some of your success stories and tell me about.
One of the ones that I'm most excited about was a young woman I just saw again yesterday who in the last year has lost 70 pounds. And she came in for a colonic, very congested, full of crappy food and drug residue and medication residue and all that sort of stuff. And in her first colonic, she lost 7 pounds.
Wow.
But she said she kept off. And then every session after that, I could just see the changes happening in her. It wasn't just the colon hydrotherapy, but it was the lifestyle change. She really changed her diet. She started exercising. She started drinking a lot of water. And the colonics coming in like monthly or so over the last year has just helped her to heal much faster.
Very good.
Yeah. She's got energy she didn't have before. She's sleeping better.
That's one of the things that I noticed
Yeah.
when I had my therapy with you. Just feeling more relaxed. Yeah. So tell us about some of your crazy stories.
Well, one that was kind of interesting was a fellow came in who had been addicted to Vicodin, painkillers. He had a car accident, and he had been injured in his back and was very constipated. And it was like trying to get brick out of somebody.
Oh, wow.
And he probably also lost about 7 or 10 pounds and was relieved for the first time in months. I work with people for a lot of different reasons. Some people are constipated. Some people have diarrhea. Some people just want to cleanse and detox. Some people just want to do something preventatively.
Yes.
So I've worked with people who, through other doctors supporting them with Lyme disease treatments, will come and do colonics as a part of that whole treatment. There's some centers around the United States now, like Oasis and Ojai and other places where people go for alternative treatments. And colon hydrotherapy is like central to what they offer them. They have them do them almost every day.
Wow.
Because they think you got to get the toxins out of the body. And this is one way to do that.
Okay. And so can you kind of just walk us through here on the chart to just kind of show us where exactly does colon hydrotherapy take place?
So this is the whole digestive system from the mouth coming down into the stomach, and then it goes down through the duodenum into the small intestine, and then the large intestine is where we begin to do our work. So this is the last 5 to 7 feet of the digestive tract, this upside down horseshoe. And the speculum is inserted a couple of inches into the rectum. Water's very gently coming in and out, in and out, in and out, eventually getting over here into the large intestine.
Wow, that's
and
amazing.
Then out again. And after the release, which you can actually see coming out because there's a viewing tube on the equipment, people feel different.
Yeah, and it's so contained. Like a lot of people think that colon hydrotherapy or colonics are very messy and gross. There's really nothing unnatural about it, or just it's very natural, it's very pure, it's very contained, and how should I say, it's sanitary. That's the word I'm looking for, sanitary.
That's really important to me, especially doing this kind of work. You know, you want a really clean,
environment,
sanitized environment. And I do like what I like about the closed toxygen system is that, like you said, everything stays contained within the tubing, within the equipment. You can watch the stuff go by, but you're not smelling it, you're not touching it. It goes down into the regular sewage system, so I don't have to deal with it later. I don't think I would have done it so many years if it was like, you know, smelly or messy.
Have they always had the Dotolo machine, or is that relatively new?
It's been around since the 70s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would say in the 70s there was a real resurgence of colon hydrotherapy, and a lot of different types of instruments were created. It's fun to look over the history and see all the different types of instruments and devices that have been used for cleansing.
Okay. Well, I am just so impressed with you and your career. You've been around 40 years doing this. So I really invite all of my viewers to go to cleanmycolon.com. That's very simple.
Yep.
And you can see and read a little bit of Constance Jones' life story. And I hope that everybody will take the opportunity to give her a call, set an appointment, and
And I'm happy to talk to people, have them come in if they want to. I don't charge for that, just to have a consultation.
Very
yeah,
good.
I mean, this really saved my life. That's how I got into it. And I've seen it make a big difference in a lot of people's lives.
All right. Well, I would like to thank you for coming on this episode of Reality Scoop. It's been great to have here Constance Jones, colon hydrotherapist extraordinaire. And I hope that you will reach out to her. Also visit me. I'm on Facebook, Reality Scoop. Are you on Facebook?
I am.
Are you on Twitter?
I am.
Okay. And so on Twitter, what is your handle?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. Somebody else does that for me.
Okay.
It might be Queen My Colon or CP
Yeah.
Jones. I'm not sure.
Yep.
I'll find out.
Well, if anybody needs any information, please feel free to reach out to me here, realityscoop1@gmail.com. All right. Thanks for tuning in.